Neither will alone nor strength alone will be enough. That is why. Hey guys, it's Oki again, and I become Lakis to bring you your personal freedom. Ta-da! To help you dominate the upcoming GD05 meta. Today, we're going to do a deep dive analysis on one of my most anticipated cards in the entire game, the Strike Freedom! I'll be telling you why it's going to be the next top tier deck through real examples and gameplay. And that's not all. I'll be presenting two deck lists for it. A pure SEED version that every Kira fan is going to love. It stays true to the anime, has incredible synergy, and is a blast to play. But after that, I'm going to show you the version I've been testing against the current meta, and some of the choices might surprise you. So watch till the end to see my ultimate deck for those of you who want explosive meta dominance. I can't wait anymore. Let's get right into it. Let's start with what I think most people are going to build first, the pure SEED version. This list is all about maximizing the interactions Bandai clearly intended. Nearly every card supports another SEED card, so your gameplay feels incredibly cohesive. Is it the strongest way to play Strike Freedom? Well, we'll answer that later. But before we start cutting cards for efficiency, I think it's important to appreciate just how well this archetype functions on its own. In the SEED Destiny anime, Kira resided in Orb after the second battle of Yakindue, which is also the main theme that ties our deck together. So here's the deck list. I kept it as pure as possible, with only a few cards sneaking in from outside the archetype. Our low end is still the usual suspects, Lefrith and Rick Diaz. They're simply the best cheap blockers in the game, and with 1 Year War still lurking around, skipping your early game is basically asking to lose. Orb's own low-end options aren't exactly inspiring. M1 Astray is just another gun tank we don't need, and both Murasames are so conditional they may as well be waiting to be blown up by Shin.
Kigali is crying her heart out.
So until Bandai gives Orb some real blockers, we're sticking with the classics. For bases, we're running 2 Archangels to keep our wall of blockers standing, and the 2 Argamas to punish the breach decks that are guaranteed to show up in GD05. It's especially strong into Wing, which is looking like one of the biggest decks of the new format. What do you guys think will be the best deck of GD05? Let me know in the comments! Now, let's get into the exciting stuff! Strike Rouge Utori! First up, we have the new Strike Rouge. Funnily enough, this is one of my favorite versions of the Strike, and I was thoroughly disappointed to see that Kigali did absolutely nothing with it in the anime. Thankfully, her brother, Kira, made up for it near the end of the show. I personally think that this card completely replaces our classic Kira blockers like Launcher Strike. While having the same cost and stats, this card links with our new Kira to get the draw 1 and also make it a 5/6, which is amazing stats for a blocker. It will completely destroy a linked RX-78 without dying. This means that against Blue Mirror, he fills the role of an earlier AO Strike, while giving you card advantage. Now, for the card that made us build this deck in the first place, Strike Freedom! Funnily enough, despite being Kira's biggest supporter, his loyal girlfriend, I wasn't sold when this card was first revealed. Level 8 just felt way too slow, and I didn't think we'd survive that long enough for it to matter. But then the ban list happened. With Blurple out of the picture, reaching Strike Freedom is actually very realistic, and the moment it hits the field, it starts generating value. The first thing to know is that it draws a card whenever it destroys an enemy card, including bases and shields. That flexibility is huge for closing out games in the late game. But the real reason this card is so scary is that its second effect. By discarding 2 cards, you can send an opposing unit to the bottom of the deck. If it's linked, both the pilot and the unit are gone. Against decks like Barbatos Lupus, Vulture, and Destiny that rely on the trash, this is absolutely devastating. In most games, those cards are effectively gone for good. One important thing to remember though, the draw effect only works on the turn Strike Freedom enters play. After that, you'll need to manage your card carefully, because discarding 2 cards every turn is a very real cost. I addressed these issues with the card in my meta deck list, so watch to the end to see how we can mitigate these flaws. Next is my favorite person in the world, Kira. This is the more mature version of him from SEED Destiny. He is one level higher, has one more HP, and has a super simple effect. Yep, he just draws one when paired with an orb or triple ship alliance unit. This activates more than you think, as it hits on 12 of the units in the deck, and he links with a whopping 18 cards. Please don't forget that Strike is neither orb or triple ship. We also have 2 copies each of the 2 freedoms here. The SD09 Freedom is here for explosive and unexpected late-game suppression finishers, while the GD01 Freedom has never been bad with its reoccurring AP- ability. With so many opportunities to link in this deck, we'll be getting its effect off all the time, which is amazing. Now, I'm sure some of you are thinking, there are a few orb cards missing from the deck. Let me quickly go over them. Honestly, this card has a lot going for it. It can reduce its own cost, link with any orb unit, and bounce an enemy on link. The problem is its level and cost. Right now, there just aren't enough strong low-level orb units to consistently discount it. Most of the time, you'll only have a Strike Rouge Utori in play, making this a 5/5, which is awkward a little bit, since you won't have the resources left to link it. Definitely keep an eye on this card though. The moment Orb gets better support, it has the potential to become a staple. Oh, my poor girl. Ganda has done you dirty again! I think her only bouncing at 1 HP unit on pair is an absolute travesty. With the next meta likely being blocker heavy, you're going to be returning your opponent's low HP blockers back to their hand, so they can redeploy them at full HP next turn. She deserves much better.
Kigali is crying her heart out.
While the new Archangel would have done great in the blurple or ping heavy meta, its anti-ping effect is fairly useless in the upcoming meta. While red is likely to become a dominant color in GD05, the sad part is that this base only protects units on your opponent's turn. We all know how much red players like to screw you over during your own action steps. But, what if I told you that that's not actually the strongest way to build Strike Freedom? While I absolutely love this pure version, there were a few matchups where it just wasn't keeping up with the decks at the top of the format. So, I started asking myself one question. How much of the SEED identity can we keep while making this deck genuinely tournament competitive? And that's where the second list comes in! So, if you watched my last video, you'll know how much I love the military package. This allows us to go blow for blow with the toughest blocker decks, while securing us major card advantage for the late game. In addition, Victory Gundam's draw effect is super useful for allowing us to secure the late game pieces. Oftentimes, we have one copy of either Kira or Strike Freedom, and need to cycle quickly around level 5 to ensure we get the link on curve at level 8. Linking GD05 Kira with Strike Freedom is super good, as the draw one on pair mitigates half the cost of its bounce effect, and Victory is the perfect engine to provide a more consistent road to that endgame. One of the new cards from GD05 we're adding is Victory 2 Gundam! His restand effect includes leg tokens too, so we can get it off easier than you think. For exactly the same cost as Victory Dash, we get both repair and the ability to attack twice in a single turn. This is especially useful against blockers, as we either eat up the friths for free or can take off 2 shields in one turn when the field is clear. While testing for this video, I discovered an amazing combo between Victory 2 and Strike Freedom. Basically, there is no once per turn on Strike Freedom's draw 1 effect, meaning if you let Victory 2 restand, you're getting 2 draws from its 2 attacks. Talk about synergy! However, I still think Victory Dash is better, so we're only going to do 2 copies of this. Now, let's look at the pilot line. The great thing about this deck compared to your standard 3 pilots deck is that the potential for linking is incredible! After level 4, almost every single unit links with everything, similar to the SEED theme deck I showed off earlier. This dramatically reduces the chances of us breaking. If you guys recall previous 3 pilot meta decks like Epion or Neo Zeon, one pilot is always stuck in our hand till level 8, increasing our chances of losing due to bad draws. For the lower level, we have the new military weenie, the Javelin, to maximize our resources when we have 1 left. This card actually comes in clutch, as it is super low cost way to get another military tag on the field, which activates all 3 of our Uso Link's effects. Since our deck is no longer blocker heavy, we run Reinforcement Junior instead of Archangel to maximize our mid-game explosiveness with victory. Alright guys, let me show you this deck in action. I'll be playing against GD05 Wing, which I believe will be one of the strongest decks in the next meta. Before that, I have a question of the day for you. Which era of Gundam did you grow up with? G Gundam, Gundam Wing, or SEED? Let me know in the comments below. Alright guys, time to show you some gameplay. Since this hand isn't that great, I decided to Mulligan. This is not bad. Let's go to Overflowings. Let's see what our opponent does. On to level 2. Let's go. Alright, fast forward through the pondering process. Back to me. Let's see what I can do now. Alright, level 2, cost 1 javelin. I pick you. Let's go. I pass my turn. Let's fast forward to the process. And then they decide to deploy Lafrith at level 3. Alright, back to me. Now on to level 3 for me. So let's first deploy a base, generates a part, and then I'm gonna overflow to see what else I can get. In this case, I decided to toss the Strike Rouge since I will be doing Uso Link on turn 4 and then Ail Strike on turn 5. Deploy a little wingy and then let's pass the turn. Again, let's fast forward through the opponent process, striker pack. Alright, let's see which one they choose. Of course, Launcher Strike is the right choice here. And then they decide to do nothing, so back to me. Now we're on turn 4. Now that I have 2 Kira pieces in hand, but no Kira, so I want to start filling my hand as we head into level 5. Victory Link is definitely the best choice here as it trades well into AB blockers, so our opponent is unlikely to block here, and they didn't. And this allows us to get a free draw. If I hold only 1 Uso here, I may have chosen to save it for the victory dash instead though. There goes my javelin into the trash. Next, thinking that my other part could attack, I decided to throw my 1-1 part at the Launcher Strike, and that was a genuine mistake. Well, that's okay. It's just a part. Tis what at this moment where she realized she effed up. After reflecting on my mistake, I decided to pass my turn. Alright, now it's level 5 for my opponent. Let's see if they got the Ail Strike link, and Bounce is my other part. Oh no, they deployed a Lafrith, building that blocker wall. Let's see what they do next. They decide to swing their Launcher Strike at my Victory Gundam. Interesting choice because they will die, but okay. Maybe they have something planned. I see they want to suicide so they can activate another striker pack, and this time they decide to go with the Sword Strike. Alright, back to mine. Since at level 5, I can either deploy 1 Ail Strike or 1 Strike Rouge. I decided to use Overflowing and see if I can get that Kira or a Link. Nope, no links, okay. Alright, Strike Rouge, I choose you to toss. Bye bye. Now I'm gonna go in with our victory here because we have a dash link ready for the next turn. I'm gonna just sack it, expecting that it'll get blocked. By the time it dies, we've already killed 4 custom blockers and drew 2. Now with 4 resources left, I'm gonna deploy an Ail Strike and pass my turn. Here my opponent pondered for a super long time, but ultimately they decided to deploy a Wing 0 EW, very pretty, and then links it with a hero. On attack they get to rest anything, and I wonder what they're going to rest. Okay, they decide to rest my javelin. Should I block or should I not? But the best idea is probably to not block in this case. Alright, there goes my reinforced junior base. Boy boy! Let's see what else they're going to do. Alright, decide to attack with their Lafrith and my javelin. Of course, I'm gonna block this with my Ail Strike. Boom! Lafrith down. Okay, let's see if they do anything else. Oh wow, Lafrith into my Ail Strike. Okay, very determined to get rid of it. Sure thing, let's trade. Alright, let's pass the turn back to me. And now, what shall we do next? With no blockers on the field, I'm definitely going to go in at their shield with my Javelin Weenie. Oh my god, I burst a piece million. Darn, so lucky for them. Next to set up for my next move, I'm going to throw my part at the Wing Zero, reducing its HP to 5. Next, I'm going to deploy my Victory Uso Link. I decided to use the Victory Link instead of the V-Dash, as either link would die when attacking the Wing Zero, so I'd rather get the Draw 1 than Breach 3, which doesn't really affect the base, it will only do 3 damage. With 2 resources left, I decided to overflow and decided to chuck the gun easy, and then I passed my turn. Alright, let's see what my opponent's gonna do. Overflow first, of course. And fast forward, they decided to chuck the Rick DS. And then overflow again. Wow, okay. And let's see what they chuck here. Okay, they decided to chuck their Hero Yui pilot. And then overflow again. Wow, okay. Darn, they must really not be happy with whatever's in their hand. Trying to shuffle that hand. And they decided to throw their piece million base and then deployed a silver bullet and pass their turn back to me. Looking at our hand, it's so nice to see that we have so many copies of units and links. With both Uso and Kira in the deck, you often end up with hands filled with endless link possibilities. In this case, I decided to deploy the V-Dash that allows me to rest the silver bullet with my part. And here's me debating if I should attack the silver bullet and get that breach 3 or destroy that piece million in one hit. Ultimately, I decided to swing at their silver bullet, getting that breach 3 and destroying that unit. Next, let's see what I do next. Next, I'm going to use the Javelin to do some additional damage to the base. Nice. Now the base only has 1 HP left. Bam! Now I pass the turn to my opponent and let's see what they do. A little bit concerned about their Wing Zero next turn, but it's okay. Interesting, they decided to deploy an Ultra Gundam EW, and on deploy they decided to pick my V-Dash so it will not be set as active during the start phase of my next turn. Alright, let's see. Oh, Kira! Nice! So I decided to deploy the Freedom Gundam, selecting the Javelin and the Freedom Gundam itself for the effect. So during this turn, when they destroy an enemy card with battle damage, I get to draw 1. So let's go in with the Javelin first. It will destroy their base, allowing me to draw a card, and it ended up being the Reinforced Junior. Next, I'm gonna link the Freedom with my GD05 Kira, allowing me to have an additional draw upon linking. Nice, gun easy. Now with the Freedom Gundam, I'm going to swing at their shields and choose 2 cards to discard. That way I get to choose 1 enemy unit with the lowest level and return it to the bottom of its owner's deck. Nice. Now I get another draw, which gave me a overflowing. Not bad. With 1 resource left, I decided to use the overflowing command card and decided to discard the Reinforced Junior base. My opponent is now going to be a level 8 and I sense the Wing Zero coming, and there it is! Boom! Clears half of my field. Now it's my turn to clap back. Alright, so now at level 8, I'm going to first deploy another Freedom Gundam. In this case, I'm going to select the Freedom Gundam and the other Freedom Gundam as the deploy effect. Next, linking the Strike Freedom with the GD05 Kira, it will allow me to draw 1. Basically here I'm just trying to get as many cards in hand before attacking, so I have better targets to toss for Strike Freedom's bounce effect. I wonder if my opponent feels the pressure now. Woohoo! With the first Strike Freedom, I'm going to attack their shield area, and by discarding Reinforced Junior and Strike Rouge, I get to put the Wing Zero to the bottom of the deck. Let's see what this shield is. Wow, okay, I just burst them a piece million. Good for them, but that allowed me to draw 1 upon attack, which is amazing. I'm gonna go in with my V-Dash to destroy the piece million base. Very nice. And then for the third attack, I'm gonna use the new Strike Freedom that I just deployed to again attack their shield, and this will enable a draw one again. Okay, fine, I burst in a hero. How lucky. And I got myself a Kira. Nice. Let's see how my opponent is going to come back from this at level 9. First, they deploy a Wing Gundam. I really don't have a good hero yet, of course. And then let's see which one they decide to munch up. With 7-7, they can only destroy my B-dash, so they decided to swing on my B-dash, allowing them to breach 5 and then getting rid of my reinforced junior base. Pretty good. And then with 4 resources left, let's see if they have the ability to deploy a base or blocker. Yep, a nail strike blocker. But it's too late now. With 2 Strike Freedoms on the field, I'll be able to bounce their Strike and Wing Gundam to the bottom of the deck. But in order to show them my true Kira powers, I'm just gonna deploy a Strike Freedom just because. And boom! Game ended. It's over. Yay! The victory is Oki's and Kira's. Dear fellow members of the Climb faction, I hope this deck list will be the strength you need to protect what your heart truly desires. Your next NTC prizing. I got you. I did tons of research and testing to give you a head start on the GD05 meta, but we will know for sure when we get our hands on the new cards as to how to best play these decks. What do you think is the best engine to play alongside Strike Freedom? Let me know in the comments! I hope you guys are just as hyped for GD05 as I am, so please look forward to tons of fun TCG content coming your way soon. Thank you so much to my Haro Squad and Ultimate Coordinators. Love you guys so much. See you guys in the next one. Blackest Climb signing off. Boom boom. Bye bye. Bye bye.